Center for Democracy in Africa, SHADA, presents human rights violations in the restive regions of the northwest, southwest, and far north regions of the country, with a slight remarkable decline when it comes to right violation in these three regions. Those were major stories. Good evening to you all. This is High Prime of Wednesday, the 8th of May 2024. For presentation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We start off with the story from the Pan-African University Institute, where some students and staff of the Pan-African University Institute for West Africa, PEDWA, has been drilled on mental health and psychological support. This was during the PEDWA Teachers and Staff Socio-Cultural Week to the build-up of the school's 60th anniversary of existence, as Addis Leke was there and now tells us more.
As part of celebrating the 60th anniversary of Pan-African Institute for Development West Africa Buea, a week-long activity captioned Pan-African Institute for Development West Africa Buea Student-Teacher Sociocultural Week is ongoing at the Buea campus. As early as this Wednesday, May 8, the students and teachers of this institution started with a tour around some areas in the Buea municipality. In the course of the day, the students were drilled on mental health and psychosocial support, followed by a debate and other activities.
What I pick from the mental health is that the psychological condition of a person. If the person is psychologically affected, the mental will be also affected. And just example of what is in Southwest here, these two regions, because example of us when we came here, we are affected little bit because we heard about this crisis. Our movements are limited. We cannot move as we wanted. So if those one happen, if you want to buy some food, you want to eat, you cannot go out because you are thinking that you will be attacked at the way. So those are affecting our mental and psychological condition.
Studying social work, so mental health, the talk of mental health was I was very much interested because with my field, I learned few tips on psychosocial support, how you can handle mental illness and the difference between mental disorder and mental illness. It was rich, it was creative, I'm happy, thank you.
Well, really about the talk we just had, the part that struck me was I actually thought mental illness was just all about somebody getting mad, but it made me understood that there's more about mental illness than somebody being mad.
Just day 2 into the Sociocultural Week, the students are already excited and having a nice time.
Talking about the cultural week, it has been great so far, amazing. We came just yesterday, but so far everything is good, and now we're preparing for our next activity.
Wonderfully great because I'm from Yaoundé and I'm from this center. We don't have a school as big as this. We don't have students as the way we are now. Interacting with them, seeing how Pan-African Institute looks, and getting to see the different features I don't have in my school is very much, and it's a relieving. I'm happy, thank you.
While looking forward for the next day's activity, the population of Buea and beyond should be getting ready for the 60th anniversary of PEDWA.
We remain with Alice Leke Ikome. This time around, she will be telling us on the harsh reality of the hyperinflation rocking the nation of Cameroon, as the local population living in the southwest region say they cannot make up with on how to manage their household and daily expenses, as due to their inability to cope with the harsh economic situation in the nation and in the southwest region in particular. More with you, Alice Leke Ikome.
At first, the sum of 10,000 CFA francs had a lot of meaning and could be used to buy foodstuff and cook a whole family meal twice. Inflationary pressure on food and non-food products have intensified in Cameroon since the start of the Ukraine war. The prices keeps going up and an average Cameroonian is caught in the web, struggling to squeeze water from the rock. The production and cultivation of food products in the southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon is a common activity, as most of the population is made up of farmers. But due to the increase of prices of other products like fuel, oil, gas, farming tools and chemicals, increase of transportation from farm to the markets, the prices of these locally produced commodities are very high.
But this oil now is kind of changing due to persistent increase, like there's inflation in the business. There'll be inflation, there'll be deflation, so the thing is just confusing someone or go to the company, like they don't have specific price. Due to transportation fare, it's like difficult, it's very, very difficult, because when they come like that, we need to pay them. Even if there's inflation in the business, we need to still pay them, you get it. And due to this retailer, those who buy in smaller quantity, when they come like that, argument, a lot of argument when they say, oh, how much is 1 liter? At times 1.4, 1.3, 2,000, 1.9. So it's confusing them. Them themselves, they are really tired.
The common man is crying, the vulnerable are suffering. It is high time for the powers that be look into the price hike phenomenon in Cameroon.
Moving on to our agricultural field for today, the early rains that started during the first half of the year has caused a lot of farmers to go for cultivation of various crops. As a result of climate change adverse effects, this has gone a long way to lead to the crops getting rot as a result of the inability of weather condition, as heavy sunshine has been felt in most parts of the country. As this follows the results from the National Weather Observatory Board, who complain or warn Cameroonians to be mindful the way they go about with cultivation of crops. This Aisha Mbeng has more.
Farmers in most parts of the West region have for some weeks now been expressing worries about the outcome of their crops in this farming season. The rains that prompted farmers to plant crops have since disappeared and crops are withering. This situation has left most farmers speechless and powerless as they now put their hopes on divine intervention. For some of the farmers, they started planting in March when the rainy season started, and since then they have been waiting in vain for another rainy period to spray fertilizers. Even some of the crops planted has been discolored by the sun. With this situation, the farmers think only God can be their helper. After the first rains, the National Observatory on Climate Change in its March 2024 monthly bulletin had cautioned farmers to begin planting in most parts of the grass field as from April 2, announcing much rains that will favor planting. Despite his analysis, other farmers of the West region, after planting in April as recommended by him, there has still been no difference between their crops and those which were planted in March. The crops are still drying out. In another outing in its 5th monthly bulletin, made public on Thursday, May 2nd, the National Observatory announced continued dryness and sporadic rains that might negatively affect farming activities.
And we move on to one of our major stories. As we did mention earlier, the world has been called upon to celebrate nurses for their remarkable job carry out all across the globe as a result of them saving the lives of humanity. The call was made by the Director General of the World Health Organization, Ethiopian-born Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, who says this celebration is a way of giving a special recognition to nurses worldwide. This celebration that kick-started from Monday, the 6th of May, will run through the 12th of May of 2024, as Alice Lekelengwi Kome tells us more once more.
Every May 6 to May 12 is often celebrated as National Nurses Week. The world is called upon to honor the incredible nurses who embody the spirit of compassion and care in every healthcare setting. The 2024 theme is Nurses Make the Difference. Throughout the week, healthcare organizations celebrate their teams, and some are even seen featuring on the news and other TV and radio programs. Nurses are essential members of Cameroon's healthcare workforce who provide care throughout every stage of life, working with patients at their most intimate and vulnerable moment. Nurses Week offers the chance to highlight and celebrate nurses for all they do. This year, the theme is accompanied by a campaign, nurses light up the sky well around the world. From assisting with life-threatening crises to delivering babies and caring for the elderly in their last moments, nurses perform some of the most difficult and heartbreaking tasks in the medical world. It is time to honor them for their contributions and sacrifices.
Moving on to the headline stories, as we did mention earlier, the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, CHADA, has presented her report on human rights violation in the restive parts of the country, precisely in the regions of the Northwest, Southwest, and Far North regions. This was during a press conference that the center organized yesterday at the center's headquarters in the town of Buea, where they reported that there have been a slight decline when it comes to human rights violations in those three regions of the country. More with our reporter on that story. The Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, CHADA, is having a press conference with journalists, lawyers, CSOs, community paralegals, FBO to build network to ensure access to accommodable, fair, independent justice in the crisis-affected regions of Cameroon.
That's the Northwest, South, and Far North regions of Cameroon. We've seen violations of the right to life, the right to freedom of movement, the right to participate in civic responsibilities, the right to health, right to education, amongst other human rights that we are violated and abused by both state defense and security forces and non-state armed groups, as well as Boko Haram insurgency in the Far North region of Cameroon.
With rights of persons in the Southwest, Northwest, and Far North regions of the country being violated, CHADA reiterates on a remarkable drop in the rights violation situation.
In the year 2023 and this first quarter, there has been a little drop in the abuses and violations in the Northwest and Southwest regions, as well as the Far North region of Cameroon. There are several reasons for this trend or a drop in violations, some of which are also the capacity of separatist fighters as well as armed groups to carry out operations. They have been weakened considerably, and also the communities, due to their excessive use of power and also violations of human rights within the community. Some communities have ostracized them, and we saw an issue where a separatist fighter was arrested by the community and handed to defense and security forces. Those are communities where these people have also committed excessive human rights abuses. So the population is ganging up against them, and that has dropped their operations within those regions.
It's community engagement and state defensive operatives that have brought into the limelight, as this has resulted to extrajudicial killings in certain